I'm going to call the special meeting of the Board of Education to order at 5:32. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Do we have any public comment? Seeing none in the room. Chat any online? Okay,
All right, so do you want me to try to move something?
I would love that. Thank you.
All right, can I make a motion to move up the 5A Superintendents Report to 3B, I guess, or I don't know, where would I put that as 4A and moving 4A down or?
I think 3B sounds perfect.
Okay,
Do I have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? I'll just note that our first presenter isn't here yet, and we are a bit short on time tonight. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Perfect. Motion carries. Troy?
Okay, good evening. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. It is great to have students here. My report, as is in the board packet, I'm just review what that is. I may add a few things. We did hire an athletic director for next year, Bernadette Macca. She was an internal candidate who rose above all other candidates who were interviewed. Really a good find, and I think we talked about that at a previous meeting a little bit. We also hired a elementary school special education teacher, Nicole Skovich, to replace Roberta Curry. We hired a BCBA, that's a board certified behavior analyst. Her name is Alexandra Salone. We're in the process of hiring a one-year third grade teacher and a sixth grade science teacher. Also in the process of hiring a 0.6 social studies teacher for Wheeler, and a special education teacher for the alternative education program is in process. I'll throw in there that we did hire a PE teacher for Wheeler. And we just finished that. No, the PE teacher is a full PE teacher, yeah, 1.0. And the candidate rose to the top among many applicants. So as you know, it's great when we have these unanimous decisions, which is often happening. We are just tomorrow, actually, going to be hiring, we're going to be interviewing for the position of business manager. And we have a committee ready for that. That'll be taking place right in this room, starting at 2 o'clock for the interview. We are in the process of running wires for additional security cameras, and that'll be a lot happening over a weekend coming up, so we don't disrupt school. There'll be ladders and having to get in the ceilings and all that, and we don't want people to get hurt running around those people working. On innovative instruction, really exciting that we have a teacher who is a fourth grade teacher, Jane Servideo, who is, as you know, has been doing a lot with invention education, and she's going to be co-presenting at the Connecticut Education Network's annual conference in May. And the title of her conference is Your Students Can Be Inventors Too: Invention and Intellectual Property Education for Any Classroom. So it's really nice and good representation for North Stonington to have our teachers do things like that and help other educators learn about how to be more innovative in their instruction. Over the April vacation, I chaired a decennial accreditation visit to Stoughton High School in Stoughton, Mass. That's the same high school I chaired 2 years ago, their collaborative conference. So it's going through the whole process. And I was fortunate to go back and see their progress that they've made. So I led a committee of 6 of us through that over 3 days. And that's how I enjoy my vacation time. We are screening candidates for the New England Institute of Technology that could have like a dual enrollment situation their senior year, and earning credit for both Wheeler High School and towards an associate's degree. and we believe we could probably send about up to 2 students for that. And Principal St. Germain will come at a later meeting and explain more details of that for you, probably in the second meeting in May. We're fortunate to have the road sign working again with electricity. Thank you for the town for their work in getting that up. We realized we needed to have some kind of process by which people suggest messages and how that's up. So we now have a Google form on the webpage. It's under quick links, and people can suggest a message. And it clearly says not all messages may go up because the priorities need to be made, and we still have to develop criteria and all that, but it gives you that, it gives you some information about that. You can check out that form to see what it looks like. A couple people have used it, and it's going to be really helpful. You had asked for a breakdown of HVAC repairs, so there is in this packet a list of HVAC repairs for this current year. And you can see the grand total is $128,000, but I broke that down into some of it's preventive maintenance and not necessarily repairs, and you can see how I broke that down here for you. We hope that next year there'll be less because we repaired so much this year. We hope those repairs hold. The Cub Club, which I believe is on the agenda later, so I don't need to talk much about it now. But the new bank account is linked to the Arley site now, and it's functioning, and money is going into the bank account as people pay their $25 fee. We can talk more about that later. Any questions about my report?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, can you touch on what's going on with the email and the server and that kind of stuff? My email is completely empty. I had like 10 years worth of emails and they're
Yeah,
gone.
if you look now, you might find that it's back. Greg Pont has been working tirelessly trying to do this. It stemmed from a few people falling for a phishing email, and then that's what happened. So this is our K-12 email, the Outlook email, which we're having difficulty with, and Greg is working on restoring all the data, and we're confident all that data, 10 years worth, is going to come back. It's just a process, and we are currently having some difficulty with sending out emails from that, but we're able to send emails internally. But we also have our no-stow Gmail emails that are kind of getting us through. And so we're making the best of the situation at the moment, but.
Can I just ask a couple, and you might not know the answer, Troy, but
Yeah.
we've had this issue in the past.
Yep.
And I guess my question is it the phishing email that caused the trouble, or is it a response to somebody clicking on the phishing email?
It's the
that's
response. It's us responding to a phishing email, and then they steal all of our, they steal that login information and that email account, and then they're able to use that email account to send stuff, junk, to wherever. And if
No,
they-
I understand
yeah.
how the phishing works, but
Oh.
I'm saying in the past, we sometimes, I don't know how to put it, we reacted. I don't know how to put it politically correct. We somewhat overreacted when somebody clicked on a phishing and it caused this whole shutdown. And so my question is this how our reaction was to somebody clicking on the phishing, or was the phishing creating
the
this
phishing
issue?
created the situation.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So we have to figure out safety nets to put in place moving forward. So if someone falls for that again, which is really easy to do because people are so convincing.
Well, it is, and
You know,
I think
and-
in any corporation, you fall for it all the time, but there's so many firewalls up that.
That's what we need to do.
But we should have those in place already.
Right. Well, we have to have more in
So
place,
if something
obviously.
slips through,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, that's unfortunate that slipped through.
Right, but it didn't shut us down.
It did,
I-
it shut us down, not Greg didn't shut us down, is I guess what I'm
Right,
getting
right.
at.
That's
Okay.
correct. Yes. But we need to have more safety nets in place. I totally agree with that, more than we have currently. And I'm talking with Greg about that now.
Do we have an ETA when we're going to be able to receive and send emails again?
It's a little up in the air right now, just to be honest. You know, I did talk to someone at CEN today, that's the Connecticut Education Network, about our problem. And we're gonna see, like, you know, what else could be done. But I do think and we've talked about this before, part of going to cloud storage will be part of the answer. And also making sure some people have limited access to what they're doing with their email as well. Because then if someone doesn't have access to sending out, and some people don't need permission to maybe send external emails, they just need it for internal communication. If someone got a hold of theirs and they tried to send stuff out, it wouldn't go. Right, so that's just one safety measure we're talking about, but there's other things we got to do with the cloud storage, and I know it's a little confusing. But I think we need to report back to the board when we get it resolved, and then figure out, to let you know what we're going to put in for the safety nets.
Should we maybe be looking down the road at like a Google email instead of
Yes.
using the Outlook?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and that's part of the discussion too. And right now, our Google email, our NoSto email functions internally and externally. And if it's going from the Google to Google, it's fine. And a lot of teachers communicate with their students and with their parents through that. So that's one way that's getting us by. Yep.
That
Thanks,
being
Jim.
said, the last time it was the Google the Google version of our email that went down, because it was the Gmail, based on the fact that somebody fell for phishing and Google shut us off and wouldn't let us do anything. So I feel like the real process needs to be making certain that people aren't clicking on emails.
And that's something that your IT can actually run fake email addresses through that make it look like it's coming from
Yeah, do it, Pat.
Troy.Hopkins@gmail,
Yeah.
and you do tests. And you know what? There are places when someone clicks on that email, they get about a 90-minute training that they have to complete before they get their email turned back on and their logins to do their job. So they have
That's
to do it
what
by
the
the next
state does.
day. There's one of your potential
That's a
safety nets.
safety net, the training. That's a good idea.
All right, thanks, Troy. I think it's worth noting, if everybody looked at that spreadsheet, it's astounding, that number, $128,000 and change in the last year on our HVAC repair and maintenance. So thank you for putting the email together. I think it continues the conversation. A Board of Finance member actually asked me the total cost the other night. So this is helpful, and it will be helpful for the conversations with Bob Carlson and people at Town Hall. So thank you. Any other questions for Troy? All right, well, I see that Ellen is here, ready for a presentation. Ellen Turner, our athletic director. You might be better here in using Johnny's microphone, actually. These are being weird. If you could just pop that up on the podium and turn it on, and you should be good. Oh, right, that too.
Wonderful. Well, I want to just thank you for having me tonight, and I'm really sorry that I am late. Troy can let you know they had a little situation at our softball game today, so I wanted to make sure I was there as long as I could be there.
Ellen
sure.
was amazing at handling it.
Thank you. All right, so the 2023-24 winter season was extremely successful. Wheeler increased their sports offerings in the winter season from our original 3 to 10. With the addition of our co-ops, our collaboratives, and adding 2 new additional sports to our winter sports teams that are supported by Wheeler. As I said, originally we had 3, boys basketball, girls basketball, and cheerleading. We now offer co-op wrestling with Griswold. We do a co-op boys swim with Fitch. We do co-op boys ice hockey with the entire ECC. So it's one team, all 17 schools have members of it. And they're called the Eagles. So I don't know if you've seen that in the paper or not. And we also added co-op girls hockey, and she is over at Woodstock. So those are our co-ops. We also added a collaborative, which is a little different than a co-op. Co-ops, we actually compete as those teams. So like our wrestling team, the kids walk around with their Griswold gear. Same thing with the hockey. But our collaborative was a team that we did with NFA, and they actually compete as a Wheeler team. But we just use the coaching of NFA, and I'll talk a little bit more of that a little bit later. And that's in addition to our newest sport that we added, which was boys and girls indoor track. So that's the newest full supported team at Wheeler. Some of the highlights. Our co-op teams did very well. Our wrestling team had a tremendous season. The Wheeler athletes competed in more than half of the weight classes. So the first time I went there, it was basically almost all of Wheeler competing, which was pretty cool. I thought maybe 2 or 3 of them actually competed, but there was about 6 or 7 of them, and they did very well. We also had Riley Kenny, who was an ECC All-Star, and he also made it to the state tournament and did very well there. So it was a great opportunity for him that he did not have at Wheeler, but with the co-op with Griswold, it gave us that opportunity. Boys swim, we also did well. We sent a young man over there from Wheeler who received his varsity letter for boys swim, and he also was part of the medley relay team that competed in the ECCs and states. So that was pretty tremendous. We had three young men that went to the ice hockey program. One of them played varsity, the other 2 were JV members, and looking forward to continuing with that co-op in the future. And then one of our biggest surprises with our co-op team was Sophia Gouveia. She was a member of the Woodstock Girls Co-op ice hockey co-op. She was the leading scorer on the team as a junior, and she was also the only girl selected from the Woodstock team to compete in the Connecticut High School Girls Hockey Showcase on April 14th. That means she was selected as one of the best out of the state. So that's pretty impressive from a girl from Wheeler. And she will be a senior next year on that cooperative team still. I have to be thankful that her parents don't mind driving her to Woodstock every afternoon. My husband and I did go up there one time. It's pretty cool. I might have to do it again next year. Then one of our newer things was our gymnastic collaborative. I'm glad Maddie's here right at this point. Timing is perfect. This is our first year doing a collaborative with gymnastics, and it was really wonderful that NFAs allowed us to have our 2 girls go and compete with them. And again, the coach was tremendous. She just took our kids right in. We competed with them, we practiced with them, and I know the girls got a lot out of it, and they made new friends. And it was just awesome. Did you want to speak to that at all, Maddie? I don't put you on the spot or anything, but.
I mean, I overall just thought it was like an awesome opportunity, and it was kind of like scary at first to be leaving Wheeler for sports activity and having to go like into Norwich in like a totally different place. But like it was so welcoming, and the coach was great, and I got like such a fun opportunity. So it was
And their Leos were beautiful. Let me just tell you, we were the best looking group. They were nice. I thank Christine for the help with that because I know nothing about ordering a gymnastic leotard. It's not in my wheelhouse, but she helped me out great with that. And then was Elsa Calwera and Maddie Wagner were a freshman senior combination. So I was really happy that I was able to give them that opportunity. Our newest winter sport is the boys and girls track team. Wheeler competed in the ECC developmental meets and got stronger as the season progressed. The season was highlighted by winning many ribbons and medals at the ECC Division II Championship at the Coast Guard Academy. Wheeler also sent 4 boys and 4 girls to the Class S state championships. We had one of our young ladies, Katie Pierce, who's a senior, who finished 2nd overall in the 600 meter, and a junior, Carissa Brown, that finished 4th in the 1600s. So not only did they do well in the ECC, but they placed in the state tournament too. So that's a credit. First year, not bad. So the sky's the limit with that group. I think they're going to do well. And I think we're going to get some of our other athletes that are our non-traditional basketball players that might want to try a little bit of running with Coach McGuire. She's awesome. And the funniest part is just watching them run through the hallway and trying not to get decked by them, especially my hallway. They run down the straightaway. And there's a few times I've come around the corner and had to put the brakes on because they're running full steam right at you. I'm too old, so I got to like take my chances. So then we get to our more traditional sports, like our girls basketball program. Those of you that got to watch one of the games, we only had 7 players on the team this year, so we had a little bit of a depth issue. We didn't have any of our seniors come out this year. We had one that actually decided to run indoor track, which it was a product of the new sport, so I can't blame her. She did very well. But the future is bright. We had a lot of 8th graders that played on our team, and our middle school girls made it as the runner-up of our championship this past winter. They did great in the league they're in, and we have about 8 of them that will be playing with us next year. So again, with the experience that the juniors and then sophomores got this year, it's only going to enhance our program for next year. Our cheerleading team had an exciting season. They competed in the ECC championships and finished runners-up to a very strong Plainfield team whose enrollment is like 3 times the size of ours. They won the Colby Souza Award for the third straight year. And that's an award that is really kind of dear to both Sherry and I. Years ago, when I was the cheerleading advisor with Dave Souza, his daughter was killed in a tragic accident, and she was a big time cheerleader. So the coaches, myself and Sherry decided to have this award in her memory. So I know it's very dear to Sherry's heart because it really is an award that's given to, a good team, but a team that's there and supporting everybody. They're not wishing for someone to fall on their stunts. They're not like clapping when they make a mistake. They are truly, truly being positive with their cheering. And our girls have won that they've won it unanimously for the last 3 years. So that's really a credit to Wheeler and to the girls cheerleading program that we get it. We get it. It's important to be positive wherever you are because you're always representing Wheeler or the town of North Stonington. The team was also very supportive with our boys basketball games. When it came to the state run, they were showing up at every game. They were positively cheering and very supportive. We did have a great award with our senior, Rose Tardif. She had the highest score of all cheerleaders in our audition. So she was actually named Cheerleader of the Year, which was a new award that came out this year. So she's the first ever to win it, which is pretty awesome. And she also was named All-State for the 4th consecutive year. So she was going to be here tonight, but unfortunately had some plans. So I'm hoping that maybe I can get her here another time or something so we can honor that because that is a big achievement. We will have there will be and there already is, a plaque with that designation in our trophy case so that she will always be there so everybody can have something to strive for. Lastly, our boys basketball team. Wheeler offered freshman, JV, and varsity levels for the first time in 23 years. The 23-24 Wheeler boys basketball team is the winningest boys basketball program in Wheeler history, finishing at 20-7 overall. Making it to the Division IV state semifinals, winning the Division II ECC tournament at Mohegan Sun, and finishing undefeated in the ECC Division IV to win their 2nd consecutive league championship. 4 members of the team have made first team All-Star status, and DeAndre Bransford was named to the Connecticut Division IV All-State team. Wheeler community holds the honors. Now, this is our whole community, not just our school, for being the only school to sell out tickets for first division, the first round, the second round, the quarterfinals, and the semifinals of a boys basketball state tournament. That has never happened in the history of the CIAC. They could not believe it when I was saying, hey, we got to find a bigger venue. But I have to say, and I said this to the boys, I think the happiest moment that I had this year was watching them win that last game on the court for my last time. It was awesome. It was so cool. The place was rocking. They were winning, and we just handled ourselves so well. And I will remember that forever. I mean, I had a state championship win too, but for some reason that one just means more to me because it was just the whole community there, and the kids were just wonderful, and the team played great, and I'll just never forget that. So for that, I'm truly thankful. I do have a few members here with us tonight. Again, we had track meet that got over around 6, so some of our members are there. I'm glad that Mr. Bailey made it because that game was getting a little long. So did we win? Okay, good. And I know Johnny's here and our baseball team. I thought many of them might have got here, but I think they were watching your game, which is cool. And what's nice about that, it just kind of shows you that all our kids are very involved in everything outside of school. A lot of them are playing other sports. But I do want to share something that happened yesterday. Yesterday, they got to go to the Capitol. And I think a lot of times the Capitol visits are for like state champions. But I think they felt like we were state champions because they were very proud of us. I know Mr. Howard and Miss Summers wanted us up there. So they had a great day yesterday. Yes, was it good, Johnny? Yeah. And they all received proclamations, and I'm going to pass it around to you guys so you can see it. All the boys received one. And it was just really a big day for them. I was a little nervous. I wasn't quite sure what it was going to be, but I think when they came home, they were pretty proud of themselves about that. So I'll pass it around and you guys can look at it. But I'll just start there. Do you have any questions of me, for me, about the season or
I would just like to make a comment about the basketball season, and you summed it up really well, but I just want to also say, like, what a tremendous experience it was for anybody who witnessed what you guys did. The whole town, it seemed like the whole town was at Mohegan Sun when you won the league championship against Stonington. And then the whole town came out again, even in greater force when you guys were in the tournament. And it was just, you guys gave people so much excitement and entertainment over the winter and school pride. I mean, it was really like being at a national championship, like and paying like, you know, $500,000 a ticket, but it was a lot cheaper. Um, and on a personal note, it was really fun for me to go walk to NFA from my new house I bought about 5 months ago to see you play that game as well. And because that really like 300 yards away. So thank you for playing that game there. It was really a feel-good season, not just for your team, but the whole town. Alumni who graduated from here years ago came out, you know, and you guys were so entertaining to watch play. And I'll tell you what, I don't watch a lot of basketball, but I think you were very unpredictable. And that's part of what was entertaining about you guys. Were quick and witty, and you just really put on a great show. So thank you for that. And we also have we have some certificates for you and your coach would like to give you, those of you who are here. Maybe we can do that now.
Yeah, sure.
So I think maybe what we should do is announce all of the names and just the guys that are here, just come on up and get them. We have John Anderson. And then we have Sean Burgle, DeAndre Bransford. And then in the room, we have Zane Brewer. We have Wyatt Elliott, Kyle Kessler, Jason Chrisowitz, Garrett Lenahan, James Main. In the room, we have Nate Main. Kyle Montigny, Brody Pappas, Mason Perkins, and in the room, we have Keith Zardes. And we also have one for Coach Bailey. I echo what Troy said. You guys had such a great season. It was so fun to watch you. And I know that everyone has talked to you about like what a great team you were and how talented you are and what a great job you did. But I don't know if you can appreciate it now or while you were playing. I mean, you were in the middle of like trying to win basketball championships, but I don't know. And I hope that someday you are able to know and really appreciate what you did for this little town. People say like, oh, North Stonington's different. It's very small. It's a special place. It's not like other places. And I think that we really felt that so tremendously during your season. You brought so much to us, to this town. It's indescribable to talk about watching you and being able to watch you with little kids, with older kids, with parents. Some people were there with their grandparents, all those people watching it online. It was wild, the commotion that you high school guys caused. So thank you so much for that. Great job.
Stephanie, can I quickly say something if you don't mind?
You all set?
Thank you so much, Ellen.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your last winter sports presentation ever.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Ellen, will we get to hear from you still at the spring sports? Will you be presenting again or?
Probably. I guess I would assume I would, yeah.
All right, I didn't
You're on the
know.
chart, Ellen.
Okay.
Yeah, I finished strong, you know
All
what
right.
to say, finish strong.
All right, well then I'll save my comments for
Yeah,
that
I'll
presentation.
definitely
Okay,
do that,
great.
yes, of
Thank you.
course. We're doing well with our spring sports right now, so we're gonna have some stuff to celebrate. I
All
think.
right, awesome. Thanks.
Thanks, Ellen. And thank you guys for coming. Okay, so we did your report, so we will move on to my report. And honestly, my report will be covered in old business, so we can move right along to the student ambassadors report.
All right, for our high school, the SAT day went very well and every single junior wound up taking it. We have chosen our new Board of Ed ambassadors, who are Anna Zeman, Grace Casada, and James Noyes, who will be taking over after us. Conferences a few weeks ago went very well and were teacher generated. For our spring sports, we have baseball, softball, girls lacrosse, and boys lacrosse with St. B's. Wheeler also has their own track team this year, and there's also a boys tennis team with St. B's as well. The debate team is going to the semifinals, and Sophie Broderick was given the Best Speaker Award, and Nadia also came in second. April 26th through 28th is the Trust Nobody Clue Reimagined play, and the art show is May 9th and 10th at Wheeler High School.
Oh, sorry, I missed something. Okay, for elementary school, the grade 3 plays went very well. Every grade class performed a different play about Connecticut history, and Carol Glenn really helps out with that. It kind of goes into each classroom. And this is also funded by the PTO. Kindergarten registration went well, and there is still time to register. Just contact elementary school by May 15th. Tomorrow is the parent advisory, where they can come and meet about SBAC testing at 9:30 in the cafeteria. Friday is the Day of Awesomeness. This is a fundraiser reward for the students. There will be obstacle course inflatables in the gym, and each grade will get 1 hour, and they also get free snow cones. There are tons of PTO volunteers that also have a ton of fun working at that event. SBAC testing starts May 1st, and the schedules have been sent out. Make sure the students taking the test get good sleep, a healthy breakfast, and there's no need to stress. They can just try their best. May 2nd is the art show from 6 to 7:30. Spring concert is for grades K through 3 are May 9th, and for grades 4, 5, and 6 is May 16th. And then the 6th grade promotion is June 12th, and more details will be sent out when it gets closer to that date. And that's everything.
Thank you so much. And thank you for mentoring the new members. I think that's really wonderful. Hi, Anna. Welcome. We're happy to have you. Okay, so this meeting, we don't have any policy and advocacy discussion just because of our odd schedule the last time. In terms of administrative stuff, correspondence, I don't know if you all received it. So I received an email. It went to all of us. I don't know if everyone got it, from a parent who was just commenting on some of the struggles with 6th grade and integrating them into sports as it sits now. So as soon as my email will send, I will send a response to that parent. We also will be hearing soon from an Eagle Scout candidate who has a proposal to actually improve the cross-country track or the cross-country trail. And so Sophie's going to be reaching out to Troy, scheduling a meeting, and then I think we'll hear from her soon. Any questions about correspondence? Okay. Do you have any correspondence, Troy?
I do not.
Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda, we do have approval of minutes on there. I've found an error in both, and so can we just look at those individually so we can talk about them? Would anyone like to make a motion to approve March 13th?
I'll make a motion to approve March 13th minutes. Second.
Thank you. Discussion? The only thing that I found wrong with it is under number 1, it said Chairperson Mastriani called the regular Board of Ed meeting to order, but it's a special meeting. That was the only correction there for me. Anyone else? Can we approve that as amended then? Everybody comfortable with that? All those, do you want to make a new motion? Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended minutes from March 13th.
I second.
Any discussion for that? Great. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And
abstain.
abstain.
I wasn't there. If that counts.
That Alex.
Yeah.
Hi, Alex.
Aye.
Okay.
Are you purposefully unmuted to make a, oh, you're just saying aye. Okay. Got
Yeah.
it.
Can I have a motion for March 27th?
I make a motion to approve March 22nd, 27th.
I
minutes.
second. I second that.
Discussion? I have the same correction on March 27th under number 1. It said that I called the regular meeting and it was a special meeting.
So I amend my motion to correct the minutes with the word special under number 1.
I second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Alex says aye.
Thank you, Alex. Okay.
So quiet.
Moving on to 7C. Does anyone want to make a motion to move our March financial report to the Board of Finance?
I'll make a motion to move the monthly financial reports to the Board of Finance.
I second.
Any discussion? Great. All those in favor? Aye.
Alex says aye. It was good report.
He said aye. Okay. All right, motion carries. Fabulous. Okay, old business. Budget. So we had the budget hearing on Monday evening. It was actually reasonably well attended and went very smoothly. People didn't seem opposed to our budget at all. It seemed to go okay. So the next step now is like right now, literally right now, the selectmen are calling for the town meeting that will be called for May 6th, which is a couple days before our next meeting. So right after this is the Board of Finance meeting where they would give us any direction if we needed to make any changes to our budget. I don't anticipate hearing anything significant. It seemed to go okay on Monday.
Do you know what happened with the bottom line of the entire town budget? Because I missed that meeting, so, because it didn't come out that we're taking a mill cut.
They are going to take a milk.
They are still going to?
There was
Okay.
there was a miscalculation at the town as well. And so what they had done when they figured their revenue was figure 100% tax collection in their calculations, where in the past they figured 98.5% tax collection. And so there was less revenue than they anticipated. But because of the school audit being completed and that money coming back from the state, plus the selectmen, I think, have a bunch of money going back into the undesignated fund because of the planner not being there for 10 months, the finance director not being there for a couple of months, and then no snow. So they'll put money back in, and then the steep money coming back in, it will push the undesignated fund over the 17% cap.
Okay.
And so they'll be giving that money back in the form of, I think it's a 0.11 decrease.
Okay.
That's the discussion. Of course, they don't set the mill rate until after it's all over, but that was sort of the
All right.
discussion
Thank
on
you.
Monday.
I just wasn't sure what happened.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Any questions about budget? Okay. So, one of the things that I did over the last couple of weeks was meet with, Bob Carlson, Laura from the town hall, Susan, from the town hall. They watched our last meeting and they thought that maybe we could make a few adjustments, in some of the suggestions that they made because they didn't want us to feel uncomfortable with the stuff that they were asking for. So Susan was actually also able to clarify some things for me so that I could share that with you. And the first is the bank account for Cub Club. She met with the auditor to discuss sort of like the kind of account, what exactly would happen with it. And she wanted us to be really comfortable with the fact that even though this account has to live with the town because it's revenue producing, it's a special revenue account, which gives it the ability to roll over, but it's also 100% restricted. So no one else can use that money for anything. That's Cub Club money. And so we don't have to be nervous about like it shifting. It's for the Cub Club. It's devoted to that. We also spent a little bit of time talking about the process. And they assure me that with this account connected to Arlie, they can run payroll out of that account, and it'll be the same way that we do anything with the Board of Ed account. So central office generates a demand, and then that money, if it's not in there already, that if we need that excess, then that will come out of the non-lapsing account into that account. So they're not just moving all that money out of the non-lapsing account into that checking account, because they wanted to be really mindful of the fact that once it's there, we can't ever move it back. So, and they understood that our intention was just to use that $35,000 that we approved. There's sort of like just parentheses around it in the non-lapsing, and we use it as we need it up to that amount. It's not just like throw it all in there and see what happens. So Susan's been working really, really hard to make sure that she's finding ways to do this in a form that works for all of us and makes us all comfortable. Troy, do you want to just talk really briefly about what's going on with Club in terms of the enrollment?
Sure. We have 21 students that have enrolled, meaning they filled out the application form with all the information and paid the $25 registration fee. And which, as soon as we accept that enrollment, that $25 goes into our new Cub Club account, which is, we have not opened the actual enrollment into sessions yet, but we'll be doing that soon. And I'm actually meeting with the person who's going to be the director next week to go over Arlie and how that works and how you can generate reports. So it looks like it's pretty popular already. But I want to be fair to people, and that's why we're rolling it out slowly and saying, hey, let's just see who is interested, and then we'll let them know when it's open to sign up for sessions. We'll take a look at it. If we have openings, then we'll let other people advertise that again. So I want to be really conscious of the fairness of rolling it out and people being aware.
Will the director now be taking all that responsibility over so that you're not having to be in?
Yeah,
on the-
that's my hope.
When does that director start?
Well, I'm going to talk to her about that on Tuesday morning.
Okay.
And I know that this is new, and we'll have to have a lot of conversations as it rolls forward to sort of update and to make sure that we're evaluating it, that it's sustainable, and that the staffing is working, and that Troy is not running Cub Club. And so I'll keep adding it to the agenda, but I wanted to make sure that we got an update on registration, as well as that bank account stuff that Susan had shared with me last week. Any other Cub Club questions? All right.
I have a quick question about the account, which is just that let's imagine that if Cub Club is dissolved, let's say we run it for a couple of years and then we find that it's no longer, popular, or it's no longer a need, the money that's in that account that may be surplus at that point, that it is set up to be 100% set up for Cub Club, what then happens?
That's a really good question, and one that Susan didn't share with me, except that it's a special revenue account and it's 100% restricted. So I would imagine one of the reasons why that we might be closing down Cub Club is because it maybe wouldn't be so financially successful. So I would think it was at a minimum, but I'm happy to ask her that question just so we can be really clear where that money sits.
And I know it's excessive. I'm just trying to think of all the possible things that could go wrong.
We should
on
all
the
totally
financial side
understand
of
it.
So
Yep.
that's just one more that comes to mind.
Very reasonable. Okay. I will ask Susan. So steep grant, I talked to you a little bit last time about, sort of that bump in the road that, SHPO reached out to the town and said, hey, we need more information about your project. And I got very nervous about what that meant. The town got very nervous. And, again, Susan, who seems to do most of the work on the steep stuff, has been interfacing, with the representative from SHPO to get an answer to some of our questions. So as it stands now, they work with people doing these projects to find a way to make them happen. Their intention is not to create an archaeological dig out of our soccer and lacrosse field, but instead to make sure that there's nothing there that shouldn't be disturbed. And if there is something there that shouldn't be disturbed, to find a way to help us complete our project without disturbing it. So my understanding is that they are at this point requesting a technical memo. We talked briefly about this last time. It can cost up to $5,000. It's sort of a brief surveillance of the field itself. I think it's a review of Tom Irwin's map about where things are going. He had some, the depth is between 16 and 20 inches into the ground, that sort of stuff. They'll want to look at all of that and then make a determination if there's things that they're concerned about. So then two things can happen after that technical memo is done. The first is that, well, I guess three things can happen. The first is that they sign off on it and we continue on our way and do the project. The second is that they sign off on it with a restriction. So for example, maybe they find something in one area of the field and they say, the pipe that you have scheduled to come through here needs to be diverted and it needs to go around this particular area. The third possibility is that they say, we have found enough stuff that we are concerned and we need a full assessment, which would sort of be the more invasive piece in the next step to the technical memo. We would have the opportunity, of course, to pull the plug at any time here and just say, you know what, we're not going to complete this project as a steep grant. I felt more comfortable after talking to Susan about the intention of SHPO, and that this wasn't in an effort to sort of stop our project, but find a pathway to yes for this project. So I think we as a board need to make a decision. Number one, do we want to proceed? Number two, if we want to proceed, the town has offered, so Susan, who does all this work, she has a list of the viable archaeological surveyors. And she said she would be happy to vet them, get the quotes on them, and sort of find someone who can do this. And then all we would have to do is make sure that we had people to meet them. Troy, Randy, sort of meet them on site. So we can decide that we want to do that, or we can take that on ourselves. And then the third thing is, if we want to proceed with the technical memo, do we want to use up to $5,000 out of the non-lapsing account, or do we want to use up to $5,000 out of the steep money? Because that is allowed as well. So,
Can I have a question?
oh yeah.
If we want to use the non-lapsing, we're not allowed now to do up to $5,000. We'd have to wait till we have an invoice to vote that in. Is
So
that
that is
correct?
going to be the next thing we talk about, and that's not going to be the case anymore. So we're going to be okay.
Okay.
But I think, so I guess sort of taking it in chunks, does everybody feel comfortable proceeding down this road?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. If anybody wants, I can ask Susan to come in. I feel like I'm sort of the middleman, and perhaps I'm not providing enough information to make people comfortable. So I can always ask Susan to come in and have like a more direct conversation if you all have questions that maybe I'm not answering, or we can wait and see if there's another issue and then have her
I'm
come in.
good with trusting somebody who knows what they're doing. That doesn't bother me in the least. I think if she's done.
No,
this
I meant
before-
about even proceeding.
No, but what I mean is like if she knows the people who are on this list and can vet them, I have no problem delegating that responsibility out and don't need a presentation to me because it doesn't need to be my expertise.
And I don't think Troy's central office needs to take that on either. So I thought it was really nice of her to say, like, look, I talked to these people anyway. So you're all feeling okay with Susan doing that piece?
Yes,
Okay, so how do we want to pay for it?
with the steep grant. Because we don't know what the project's gonna come in yet, so let's fund as much of it with our grant first and then
Right.
see where we end up.
And she did check on that to make sure that it was okay to use the money for that, and it's absolutely fine.
So do we need a motion?
I would love if we could make a motion that could maybe encompass all three of those things. So we're proceeding, we're okay with the town vetting our people, and we're going to use the steep money to do it.
Okay, check, go ahead.
You look like you got it ready. You go.
Or, well, I don't know
I'll
if I got it ready. Okay. I make a motion to proceed with the steep grant for the irrigation project, allowing the town to vet the process for the, what is it called?
Archaeological survey.
For the archaeological survey and using steep grant funds to pay for that. Up to $5,000? Or I don't have to even say that, do I?
Up to 5.
I think it's okay that you said it.
Up to $5,000?
I second.
Does anyone want to have discussion about this?
I would just say thank you to the town for the fact that they're willing to allow somebody to help with this. I think that it's always good to have somebody who has prior experience doing these things as opposed to us muddling, excuse me, muddling around and trying to figure out how to do it. So
I agree. All right, any further discussion? Perfect. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone
Alex says aye.
Good. Alex is an aye. Okay, then the motion carries. Perfect. Okay, non-lapsing. So they also listened, Susan, Laura, and Bob listened to our meeting and said, you know what, maybe we can find a way to do all these procedures in a way that doesn't feel to the board like we are trying to exert extra control and doesn't slow the process down. So, I mean, usually the non-lapsing isn't an emergency to begin with, but they recognize that maybe we're adding an extra step in there that doesn't need to be just like that. So they are proposing, but I would like a vote on this. They are proposing that what we could do is do just what we've always done. Vote on the up to, and then do all of the research. And then that paper that they wanted Jamie to sign last time that says actually what the invoices are, how much we're spending. They are suggesting that I can come into the town hall, I can sign it, and then I record that and just bring it back and report it to you at the meeting. They feel like that satisfies, as long as those invoices are below what the board approved, that would satisfy that requirement. But I am not comfortable doing that unless you all say that you are going to authorize me to sign that and then bring it back to you. Right. So is everybody comfortable with that? Okay, does someone want to make a motion about that? I'm not exactly sure what the motion says, but
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve the chair signing off on invoices regarding the non-lapsing account. Not to exceed the prior voted on up to amount. That sounds really strange. Not to exceed the prior approved amount per line item, per item. I don't even really know why we need,
this is going to be great to type out.
do we really need a motion
So
on
the
that?
only reason why I want a motion is because in our bylaws, it says that I don't have any power to act on behalf of the board outside of a board meeting unless the board tells me I do. And because this is so significant and it involves like our non-lapsing count that we're so serious about, I just wanted it to be on record and I wanted everyone to make sure that they were comfortable with it.
I think we can maybe skip the whole up to thing and just give you the authorization to sign up on approved invoices from the non-lapsing account.
Just so you know, yeah, you know, I wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't be authorized to if it exceeded the amount that we
Right,
said.
right.
it would counter our vote, so it wouldn't.
Right.
Right, and if there was an issue, we would be letting you know, obviously.
Yes, and then I come back and I
All right,
tell
so,
you the invoice.
so let me,
Yeah.
all right, so I make a motion to approve the board chair to sign off on any non-lapsing invoices that had been previously approved. Right?
I second.
Does that make sense? All right.
Is there any discussion?
my only discussion is I still just don't understand, to the best of my reading of this statute and this process, the Board of Selectmen and the Town Hall have absolutely no say whatsoever on our non-lapsing account. The Board of Finance does. And if the Board of Finance were requesting this sort of a thing from us, then I feel like that would be something that I would feel much more comfortable with. I'm just a little confused as to how this fits in, because it doesn't seem like people are exerting the control in the areas where it's given by statute. And
I
so,
think that's really reasonable, and I think that they heard that from people last time, and that's why they wanted to make sure that they really took a look at it and said like, okay, so how do we make this work? So I think really it's more about procedure. So for example, while they don't have control over our account, they're the ones that move the money. So the Board of Finance doesn't move the money, the treasurer actually moves the money. So when central office issues what's called a demand, then that demand goes in, and then the treasurer moves the money out of the account into the account that it needs to be in order for like the check to be written. And then Susan is actually balancing all of that stuff, right? She's reconciling, she's doing that stuff on the town's end. And so it really is just about,
but reconciling on the town's end is writing the check.
she's also reconciling, I believe, because again, the account lies with them, right? So we don't move.
But I still
money.
don't, so if she writes the check, then she takes the check out of the account.
So-
I don't understand where the reconciling is, other than she's just removing the money from the account that we are requesting.
I guess I kind of have to agree with Chet a little bit. If the superintendent is asking for that money on an approved item, that should be
That's it.
enough. If
I agree,
if
and I
they're
think that it's
concerned
about,
about it, are they concerned that it's not a legit ask? Or I guess what is the concern there?
no, I think they just want to make sure that the policies are sort of standard. So for example,
But this has a laid out process
I
that
understand. Would-
doesn't,
comfortable if I had them come in to discuss it. Laura's here now, but I don't want to put Laura on the spot because she's
I-
really just here for the
So
Board of Finance
isn't it-
meeting.
Isn't it, just to throw in there, I think it might be just a matter of the town hall feeling like they have a real accurate record of what they're asked to transfer.
But
It-
isn't that
just
the
for that
check?
accountability. Because they're transferring the money from one account to another, so they want to have a piece of paper that has the exact amount on it. with
I
a
think
signature.
ultimately they want that for
which
us.
is the demand.
Right, I think ultimately they want that for us. I think that there has been,
But do
at
we feel we
times-
need that?
well, I think at times there's been a little bit of confusion. I think that there's sometimes, I know that for us, we struggled, and Troy, we talked about this, and we've talked about it at a meeting, that if we make an approval, if that approval sort of sits around, nothing happens, this is just another way for us to sort of keep an eye, and obviously for the town as well, and that's fine for their accounting, for us to keep an eye on exactly what's happening with our account. So for example, 2 of the selectmen have to sign off on all of those things as well, right? Every week they sign off on all
And
of their
again,
checks.
if we're trying to keep track of it, to me, that should be us putting in place processes that we come up with, that we, not
Sure.
that they've decided that we should have this process so that we feel more comfortable, because I felt comfortable already.
So
I
I'm
was
hearing that
good.
you're uncomfortable with this process. Am I
I
hearing that
am.
right?
I am uncomfortable with the process.
Yeah, the more, I think the issue,
Okay, so
Steph-
why don't I have, because again, I feel like this is my second meeting with them about it, and they were working to make some adjustments, and so perhaps I'm the one who's doing a poor job explaining this, because I have to say, when they explain it to me, I do not have this reaction at all. So I think that it might be in the translation. So why don't I ask Laura and Susan, and maybe even Bob, to come into our next meeting, we'll agenda them, and then they can talk about what,
well, how about, let me pull my motion first.
Yeah, go
because
ahead.
we
Pull
still
your
have a
motion.
Motion on the
Yeah.
floor, so I will, I don't, I rescind my motion.
Yeah, and then I'll have them come in and then they can sort of talk about it. They'll do a much better job than I'm doing. And then you can ask your questions of them and get a sense of whether or not you're saying, we as a board will not do what they're asking, or, and then we can sort of vet out what that looks like. And
Or could we, as a board, discuss, do we think we need a different process for how we are handling the non-lapsing? And us as a board can decide what that process would be, and then we can go back to the town and say, this is the process we've decided to put
I
into
think I'd like
place.
them to come in first to talk to us about the origin of the request.
Okay.
So that then, Chet, you can say, look, I don't think this is in the statute. And then they can say, here's why we're saying it is, here's why it's necessary. And then we can decide, Christine, like you said, if this is something that we say, thank you, but we're gonna develop our process and then we'll let you know. So let's find out what's behind this. Let's find out if the auditor's involved in this. And we'll take it from there. So I'm going to agenda that for the next meeting and invite them to come. That works for everybody? Okay, perfect. So that, I think, takes us through old business. Troy, I think we are on target to do your new business.
Yeah, the only thing that we have is the annual vote to approve the healthy food certification. So I think I'm the only one that has this, right, Irma? Oh.
I think we all have it.
Oh, you all have it?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. All right. You have this? Oh, there's only two, me and Stephanie.
I got a
Ste-
copy.
Stephanie has
Okay.
it and I have it only. We could just read it. Someone can read it. There's, it looks like there's two parts of it.
Yeah, I think that's Jamie because she's the secretary.
I have a job. Okay. Motion to approve to, sorry, okay. So motion to approve to participate. Yeah, I know. I'm like, I need to make them. Okay, I'm going to make the motion to approve to participate in healthy food certification as follows. Pursuant to CGS section 10-215F, the North Stonington Board of Education certifies that all food items offered for sale to students in the school under its jurisdiction and not exempted from the Connecticut nutrition standards published by the Connecticut State Department of Education will comply with the Connecticut nutrition standards during the period of July 1st, 2024 through through June 30th, 2025. This certification shall include all foods offered for sale to students separately from reimbursable meals at all times and from all sources, including but not limited to school stores, vending machines, school cafeterias, culinary programs, and any fundraising activities on school premises sponsored by the school or non-school organizations and groups. Okay.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alex says aye.
I cannot. I motion to approve to participate in the combined food and beverage exemptions as follows. The North Stonington Board of Education will allow the sale to the sale of students of food items that do not meet the Connecticut nutrition standards and beverage not listed in section 10-221Q of the Connecticut General Statutes, provided that the following conditions are met. 1, the sale is in connection with an event occurring at the end of the regular school day or on the weekend. 2, the sale is at the location of the event. And 3, the food and beverage items are not sold from a vending machine or school store. An event is an occurrence that involves more than just a regularly scheduled practice, meeting, or extracurricular activity. For example, soccer games, school plays, and interscholastic debates are events, but soccer practices, play rehearsals, and debate team meetings are not. The regular school day is the period between midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. Location means where the event is being held and must be the same place as the food and beverage sale.
Second.
discussion about that?
When does the school day start?
Wonderful. I know, wild. All those in favor? Aye.
Alex says aye.
Okay, motion carries. And that brings us to the calendar. Our next meeting is on May 8th. It's a regular meeting at 6:30. I believe we are done with the 5:30 special meetings. And the town meeting will be on May 6th. That is all I have to say about the calendar. Does anybody have anything else to say about the calendar?
Do you know when the next tri-board is?
No.
Okay.
No, I do not. I think wasn't it in June? It was after the budget, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
I think so. Just
I'll
as
find
we
out.
were just saying, maybe this non-lapsing procedure thing could come up there as well.
You are very right. All right, let me find out when that is too. And that moves us to public comment. I don't see anyone here. Anna, you don't want to public comment? No? Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
I second.
All those in favor?
Alex says aye.
Alex is an eye on that too. We are adjourned. Thank you so much for getting us through that.